So I don't understand why you asked the question.
Semblance, but we're not talking about every guy isn't going to marry a 10. Every girl isn't going to marry a 10.
Most guys
right?
are never going to marry a 10, and most women are not 10s to marry. So.
Okay, so why use that value if that's not the only thing that people are going to judge when they're choosing a life partner? Why is that so important?
We're not saying that's the only value.
Okay.
We're asking specifically only on the one criteria of the physical. We're not saying that other values don't exist. Tens of thousands of other values exist. All sorts of little nuances and niches exist for different behaviors that you're interested in. We're purely talking about
I
physical
want you to
attractiveness.
rate your wife 1 to 10 then.
Okay, as soon as you rate your husband 1 to 10.
No, rate your wife.
As soon as you rate your
went
husband.
Around,
I
hold
mean,
on.
you didn't
no,
want her to
you don't
answer
want to
questions,
answer.
and you're going to
Answer the question. You went around and you want all these women to rate themselves, right? So rate your wife.
On pure physical attractiveness at her age, my wife is about a 6. Now rate your husband.
I would
do it. Your turn.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't. That's right.
No, I told you I don't use a number.
Distinction between honesty and a liar,
no, are you
ladies
saying
and gentlemen.
Rate him physically?
Yes,
on
physically only.
Not on my
only
attraction to
physically.
him?
Yes.
That's what the rating scale is.
Do it. I just did. Do it. You can't do it.
I'm not doing
Yeah,
that.
that's right. You're not fucking doing it.
Disrespectful.
Totally dishonest.
No.
Demands it from me, refuses to say it herself.
Because you're the one setting the standard.
My wife's literally watching it. Guarantee you she's not upset at all, but you can't answer the question honestly.
I think it's a disrespectful question.
Why?
Because I think
because it's true.
That's her own values. If she doesn't want to answer, she doesn't
right,
want to
but
answer.
demands that the other person does.
Yeah, because you're the one saying, you're the one asking a table full of women to rate themselves.
So,
Actually,
so wait a second. I'm asking a table full of women to make a self-assessment based on pure physical qualities.
Right.
And you say this is an impossibility to begin with. Okay, well, granted. But then you said, fine, I'll call you out. Rate your wife. Okay, I did. Rate your husband. No.
No, I'm not going to rate it.
It's fucking pathetic.
It's not pathetic.
Yeah, it is pathetic.
I think it's disrespectful. So I would be a hypocrite to then rate him
on
a number system of 1
You're a
through 10.
hypocrite now because you made the demand you yourself won't fulfill.
Right, because my point is it's disrespectful, and I think the fact that you
do you not
are
know,
rating your wife even with that is kind of disrespectful.
Why is it disrespectful? How do you think she rates herself? Maybe she rated herself this way 15 times and I'm using her rating.
Well, I think that's sad.
Why?
Because you should probably rate her a 10. She's your wife.
What do you rate yourself? Because you ain't as good looking as she is, honey.
Okay, well, that's fine.
I'm just saying.
And that's your opinion.
That's not necessary.
It is necessary.
That's your opinion.
Well, no, this is exactly why I said like the question of rating yourself was from a man's perspective. A woman's not going to answer the way that you want her to, because in the end, the conclusion that you're coming to is not what they're calculating. So it's already an unfair.
It's not unfair.
It is unfair.
Then how come men can make those self-assessments then?
No, I'm not talking about, because what you're asking right now, the line of questioning that you're going down, that the end result is completely different to what is being discussed amongst the women that are answering. And even what you mentioned coming down to, the delusion or whatever, it's like, that's not what they're even thinking about. The question is not...
Who's not thinking about that?
The women answering, when they're like, what are you rating yourself? They're not thinking about, well, am I delusional? You just ask, what do you rate yourself?
So of course
and they're
not thinking about that.
And I'm not, hey, I said 4. I could care less. But the
and
fact
I am a 4.
Is,
so if you get a 6, that's going up, right? That's good.
Yeah, but the fact is, what you're looking the answer for, they're clearly not thinking. And what's being displayed very clearly here is chess versus checkers. Just like I said at the beginning, the outcome that you're looking for is not what's understood in the initial questioning or the response.
What outcome am I looking for?
Well, what you mentioned about, the delusions and,
No, I'm saying that's why they asked that question.
I understand that's why they asked the question.
I'm not looking for anything. I just answered the question.
No,
I wasn't posing
it was
the
a
question.
It was a correct answer. I understand that's where it was going, but I'm saying that's not what's understood in a woman's mind when you ask, what are you rating yourself and why? That's not what that's exactly what I'm saying.
I don't. So this is
the whole argument
nonsense.
That's the point. The whole argument here is nonsense.
No, it's not. What you're saying the argument is nonsense.
No, because
tell me, what could possibly bar you from giving a self-assessment on what you think your rating is for attractiveness?
Different than the outcome that you're
I know.
towards.
That's a distinction with no merit. What's barring
Everyone
you?
gave an answer.
No, they didn't. But what's barring you from giving an assessment of your own personal attractiveness? Nothing.
Everyone gave an assessment of their
No, they
personal
didn't.
attractiveness,
No.
save
Who
Millie,
didn't?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then everybody. So then that would not be everybody then.
Okay, except for Millie.
Yeah, except for the person who didn't. Who
Yeah.
you said it's impossible for her to do it.
I never
even though
said
you
it's
yourself
impossible
did it.
for
Well,
her
technically, I could
I never
throw
said
out a
it's
random
impossible for
number.
her to rate herself.
I said let
I said
the
the outcome you're
men
looking for at
decide.
the end of the whole line of
Let them
questioning
decide.
is not where their mind's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, every answer is going to seem delusional. They're not looking at
They
what
don't
you're
all
looking
seem
at.
delusional.
Well, a lot of the times it does, or is
What does that
claimed
have to
be.
do with anything?
Just like I said, it's not the same line of thinking.
It is the same line of thinking.
the
I
same
don't
line of
understand.
thinking.
What's
They're
the
not answering
distinction
the same
between a
question.
man giving a self-assessment and a woman giving a
The
self-assessment?
reason is different.
What is the reason?
Well, you're talking about the fertility and the physicality or whatever, like being attractive and things like that.
The same reasoning that women would have.
Actually, that's not what was said earlier.
No. What's being said is they tried to displace the actual question and say, I'm going to go for everything except what is physical.
Women don't think like that.
No, they do think like that. One thing women
Not-
do think like is
mean,
how
this whole
attractive
table
am I?
is-
Yes,
That's
they
not.
do.
That's not what I'm talking about, though. That's not.
It is
how
what
they,
you're talking about.
No, because no, that is not what I'm talking
Then
about.
what are you talking about?
That's not how they gauge attractiveness. A lot of women will gauge attractiveness based on how they feel, or what they think benefits them emotionally or mentally or whatever. It's not just physicality. Like,
Yes, but we're asking the question of pure physicality, and I don't think that women are so
Yeah, but
irrational they can't answer the
I
question
never
based
said
on
that
that.
has nothing to do with irrationality. And everybody answered, like I said, except for Millie.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is the end result that you're looking for.
And do you think
is
you were
not the
accurate?
same.
Do you think you were accurate in your assessment?
That has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Oh, well, it has something to do with what I'm saying. Do you think you were accurate with your
You're
assessment?
deflecting from what I'm
I'm
talking
not
about.
deflecting
I'm
at all.
saying
I'm
that your
asking a
end
direct
result has
question.
nothing to do
Do
with
you
the
think your
initial
assessment
question.
was accurate?
I'm not a man. I don't know how a man would rate me. You can ask your audience.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
care.
fine.
It has
So
nothing
you don't
to-
know?
I said 4. I stand by 4.
Okay.
I don't care.
Do you, and
Like
do you
I
think
said.
it's accurate?
Doesn't matter if I think it's accurate or not. A man might agree.
Why
a
would you
man might
give a
disagree.
number if you don't think it's accurate?
That's not what I said. I said
That is what you
I said. I
said. Uh-huh.
gave a 4. I stand by 4. I said if a man agrees,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to. I don't know if a man's going to agree or not. He might agree. He might not agree.
But you gave the
I
number,
said-
so clearly you think the number's accurate, right?
I said 4.
Do you think that's accurate? Because
I said
if
what I
you
said.
don't think it's accurate, why would you give the number?
I said.
Would
what
you
I
rather
said.
she not give
give
one
an
at all?
answer.
I don't get it.
Oh my god.
This
Like, I
is-
don't
this
actually
is-
Like I
understand the
said-
conversation
I said,
at this
no,
point.
you're
Yeah.
deflecting from the initial point here, which is that you asked a question that you know women will answer differently based on how they feel and are going in a completely different direction in the end about something completely different that men portray in a different way.
Yeah, but the
mentally.
question becomes, is it because they're being honest or not? Or if it's
No, it
really
has a
because they're
complete-
just
it's a different
irrational
line
like
of
you're
thinking.
claiming?
It's a completely different line of thinking, and it doesn't matter if
Nobody says that they're not thinking about it along different lines, but that doesn't mean that they're still not being dishonest or they're being honest.
how are they being dishonest about what they
Because
feel?
I've seen 250-pound fat obese sitting right there saying they're
Is
tense.
anybody here 250
Again,
pounds?
and now
me.
you're deflecting.
No,
But
it's
that
the
just
number
goes to
of
show-
the women here right
You're
now.
not.
That just goes to
I don't
show
think he's
how
talking about you,
pointless
Renee.
the question
I don't think he's talking about you.
is.
I'm
Because
saying
you
I've
can say
seen
any
I've seen
number.
those women do that, and clearly they're being dishonest. And when questioned, it's obvious they're being dishonest. That's why.
Okay, but
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
basing our argument right now based on
Yes.
previous
Are
assessments
you
of
asking
other
them of,
people
You
as
mean
opposed to
how-
the
our
women in
opinion
front
of
of you?
Well, it's an
ourselves
empirical
or men's
question.
appearing?
It's an
See,
empirical
no, this is
question,
the
so-
this is the contradiction.
Tell us the
No,
problem.
but then he just
There's no
said
contradiction.
Tell us
you're
the
being
problem.
dishonest.
No, I didn't say you're being dishonest.
No, you did. You
no,
literally
no,
said
I didn't.
No,
Literally
you
never said
said
anybody's being dishonest.
a woman sitting there looking like a whale, rating herself 10, and you're saying she's being dishonest.
We through inquiry, I said
Right.
through inquiry, we discovered she was
Right.
being dishonest. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You
What do you
understand
mean
the
by
distinction
through
there?
inquiry?
Like I asked a bunch of questions and she answered them and came to the conclusion she was being dishonest.
He inquired.
Okay. So she was
There
the
was-
one who
there
said,
was an
"Oh
inquiry.
no, I'm not
He
valued."
inquired.
Yeah, well, she literally said
There was an inquisition.
She said,
You could even
"Okay,
say there's an
physically,
inquisition.
yes, it's true. I'm blah, right? But emotionally, I'm a 10, or metaphysically, I'm a 10, or whatever." Yes, through inquiry,
Inquisition.
it was discovered that
What a
she was
nice
not
secret.
being very honest. Yes.
Well, that's. I
Well,
think that men are going to be the best judges of how attractive they find women at the end of the day.
okay.
Well, we got a chat here from Alex. Alex says, I enjoy